Remember last night when we were out walking around town? One of my favorite things to do, there are a lot of homeless people in Toronto. A lot of homeless people in Toronto. They come from all across the country, and one of my favorite things to do is, and I do this in New York, I've done this in Kansas City, I've done this in Toronto, I've done this in Chicago, I've done this in Tel Aviv, I've done this in London. Just, if I can't sleep, I'll go for a walk. And sometimes I go out looking for wake-up calls. And the type of wake-up calls that I found to be the most profound are the type that we found last night. Hey, can you spare a few cents? Can you help me out? And you just stop for a minute, recognize the person, and just strike up a conversation. What's your story? How'd you get here? What happened? What's your plan? Where are you staying tonight? I don't carry cash, so I can't, for the most part, give them anything in terms of money, but, you know, maybe a cigarette or candy bar. Last night I had a coffee crisp, which was like a real treat when I was a kid, to have a coffee crisp. And Joel. Man, Joel had an injury, lost his job, shoulders were popping out, son, disability, he's living at the Salvation Army. He was a cool cat. He was smart, intelligent, probably educated. We just struck up a conversation. Me and Charles, we just struck up a conversation. It was actually Charles who just started asking questions. And Charles said, so what are you gonna do, man? Like, what is your plan? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just trying to get enough to eat. And he said, but what do you love to do? And he said, well, I love to play guitar. I was like, really? Are there any pawn shops around? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, well, what would it take for you to get an acoustic? It's like $50. That's it. There's your wake-up call. $50. What will it take for you to get $50? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. You know, a little more of this. And just seeing Charles light up, he lit up. And he's like, I could see him starting to buy into the possibility that $50 is all that stands between me standing with my hand out and me standing with a guitar. And instead of asking for something, giving something. I mean, that's as close to passive income as you can get, right? And that's what Wake Up's about. What is the next step that you have to make? What is the next choice that you can make? Forget about 3 days or a week or 3 months or 3 years from now. Forget about building your ultimate life when you're in a position like that. And that's obviously an extreme example, but gosh, Joel, I would put money on the fact that Joel right now is out there finding his $50. He's out there finding his $50, and he's gonna find a way to provide something of value to others. When you give, you engender gratitude. With gratitude, sometimes comes compensation, sometimes it doesn't. But for goodness sakes, for his psyche, for his self-esteem, for his self-worth, standing there with a hand out versus standing there being proud of what he loves, and then like letting that bring what he needs, the currency, to be able to feed himself. He begins to regain his nobility and his confidence, and gosh, that was such a wake-up call for him, but it was a wake-up call for me as well, just watching that interaction. Profound.